Welcome back, everyone. As always, of course, this is Goku-san DBZ, and welcome back for my top 10 favorite video games of 2022. The music of choice I chose for this view is from the original soundtrack to the great game Stray, the cat lovers game. So, with that said, here are my top 10 favorite games of this year. First up, one honorable mention for Forever Forward, or rather Ever Forward, which is a very interesting indie puzzle game. It did have flaws, which specific ones that stand out, which is why it did not make the top 10 cut. So with that said, coming in first at number 10 is a surpriser to me personally. I was not expecting to enjoy this. Great soundtrack, probably one of the best fighting game intro themes I've heard in a fighting game in the past decade. And that is the interesting anime fighter coming at number 10, uh, Phantom Breakers. Omnia. Definitely an interesting game, I will say. Now, if you want a physical copy of the game, you have to pre order it through, of course, limited run games. Which I did, and I'm glad I did, having the physical. But with that said, it's surprisingly a pretty good anime fighter if you like your anime fighters, and this is a little different than your traditional anime-esque mainstream fighter. Definitely a much more niche anime game, sort of like Under Iron Birth or Skullgirls. But with that said, the niche hits a spot just perfect. But yeah, it's my number 10 favorite game of the year. Number 9 favorite game is a game I was not expecting to like. It surprised me. It is a game that takes place in, of course, the universe of my favorite anime franchise, that being obviously Dragon Ball. This is an interesting spin, an interesting take, gameplay wise and everything, on the Dragon Ball formula. Instead of being a traditional Dragon Ball Z or something fighting game, they chose to go a much more interesting survival route. And alternate timeline reality of Dragon Ball instead. No Goku around or anything to save the day, so it's interesting. With that said, that's what helps it stand out. Besides being also taking place in the universe of Dragon Ball, also gives it a little leeway as my biased self. But coming at number 9, and by the way, the previous game was PS4, and this I played also on PS4. And number 9 is Dragon Ball Breakers. Interesting breakers in the first two game titles. With that said, coming at number 8 is a remake. Played it on PS4. Haven't beat it yet, but still, it immediately gets on the top, as it is a remake of one of my personal favorite 3D platformers of all time, and one of my favorite platformers of the PS1. So, with that said, coming in at number 8 for me personally is Pac-Man World Remake, or remake, however you want to say it. But yes, the Pac-Man World Remake comes in at number 8. Like I said, biased is all heck, but at least I'm honest about it. Unlike some people out there. With that said, coming in at number 7, also played PS4, but digitally. That is a game I have not gotten around to uploading gameplay of, mostly because I just have been so packed right now with games recording and stuff. I haven't gotten around to it yet. Hopefully, I do in the very near future get some gameplay actually uploaded. But coming in number 7 for me is Kingdom Fighters 15. Really good game. I do like they brought back Rugal. Is very much appreciated. Of course, you had that challenging like boss mode, though probably not as challenging to long time people who play fighting games on the highest difficulty. I'm not a masochist. There's only a few fighting games I've ever actually gone out of my way to play on expert level, and King of Fighters is not one of them. But with that said, still, great game. It is probably one of the top 10 best King of Fighter games I've played, easily hands down. The game looks superb. I love the animation, the special effects, and everything about the game. And some of the redesigns of some of the characters. Like, I kind of like this take on Iori, definitely a lot more personally. With that said, coming in at number 6 is a game I'm probably about currently 85% range through. A great open-esque type 3D platformer world, which I've really enjoyed. Coming in at number 6, played on PS5. That is the really cool, love the coloration, art style, and everything about the game. Coming at number 6 is Solar Ash, which is a game I've been looking forward to for quite some time. I was happy, very much, yeah, I could have gone it on PS4, but I wanted to run it at the best possible gameplay experience I could get, and I waited, and I'm glad I finally managed to get PS5 so I could experience games like this, as well as other future games I look forward to playing, like The Pathless. But with that said, coming in at number 5 is actually a collection, or compilation collection. I played this on the Nintendo Switch. Coming at number 5 is the TMNT Cowabunga collection. Great collection of many classics. Specifically, though, for me as standouts, of course, is, as you know by now, one of my all-time favorite beat-em-up games is Ninja Turtles 4, Turtles in Time. All-time classic and always will be one of my personal favorite Super Nintendo games of all time. With that said, coming at number 4 is another compilation, and one of easily probably the best compilations I've ever seen, especially for any fighting game fans. Coming at number 4, I've gotten to play digitally on PS4, physical on Switch. Coming in at number 4 is the Capcom Fighting Collection, as it is my first ever opportunity and chance to actually get to play Red Earth, which is a very unique and interesting experience, which eventually I will get to around to uploading gameplay of my first playthrough of the game. Definitely, it was a very interesting and unique experience to say the least. But with that said, coming in at number 3 ended up a tie between two games I very much enjoyed this year. The first I played on PS4, and it is another remake. A remake that far surpasses the original game, which was originally a exclusive to the actually Sega Dreamcast. Funny enough, though I only played that back in the day, renting it from Blockbuster was the only time I ever got to play it. Otherwise, the only experience I have really is KO the Kangaroo 2. So now you know. Tied at number 3 is between KO the Kangaroo remake, which I only have 2 videos left to upload of my playthrough of KO, which the game was a blast to get to play. I love it. It has a lot of things I found interesting in the game that kind of reminded me a bit of like Crash and other stuff, and that's not a bad thing because I hold Crash, specifically Crash 2, very high regard of platformers. But this is arguably one of the biggest surprises for me in a while. It's probably one of the most fun platformer experiences I've had in quite some time, in all honesty. Tied with it, another game that I've been playing was the first game I played on the PS5. Tied with it, number 3 is Ghostwire Tokyo, which is a superb game. Which one of the developers behind the game was involved in the creation of Resident Evil 4, as well as involved in, of course, also a little thing called Devil May Cry as well. So it was a very big key figure for a while there at Capcom. But no, seriously, Ghostwire Tokyo, great game. I highly recommend checking it out. It's a lot of fun. I love the unique gameplay aspects and the music I like. I love the overall experience is just interesting for a first-person viewpoint game. Coming in at number 2, well, you've been hearing music in the background from this one, and that is coming in at number 2 played on the PS4. Stray. Arguably, probably one of the biggest surprises of the year for me personally. I was not actually expecting to end up getting into the game, but I did. I really love it. I'll be honest, a little biased. I've always preferred cats to dogs. No offense. But, so, I'm mentally a little biased there. But, it's a really fun, great platformer, I think, slash, like, sort of an interesting walking sim take with a post apocalyptic world, but instead with robots and cats. Interesting take, and evil robotic rats or mice, whichever. But with that said, no, seriously. In all seriousness, Stray is a great indie game, probably one of the best indie games I've played in a while. It was just a very interesting and unique experience. You don't get that often, in all honesty, and it is refreshing. And that's something I've noticed about indie games. I've gotten to experience a lot of unique and new feels. But with that said, there can only be one. Coming in at number one, experience. Of course, they're right now uploading my playthrough of the game as we speak, which I'm not sure how long it's going to take to get it uploaded, as there's quite a few videos. But coming at number one, played on the PS5, thank goodness, to get full great experience. Coming at number one is, well, the sequel to the game that was my number one game of 2018 and my number one favorite game on the PS4. So, arguably, there's definitely going to be a lot of bias. Did I think this game was going to live up to the greatness of the previous game? I was not expecting it. But surprised and happy to say it did live up to all the hype. I genuinely love this game, and I can't wait to give my actual full review in the near future of the game. Coming at number one is God of War Ragnarok. I mean, for a time there, I thought nothing would end up dethroning Stray, which held my number one spot for about 2 months. Before that, my top spot was held for quite a while by Ghostwire Tokyo. Well, since about September, anyways. But with that said, that is my top 10 favorite games of 2022. So leave a comment below. What are your personal favorite games of the year, and of the games that I mentioned? Are any of them on your personal list? What was your opinion on games like Stray, the Capcom Fine Collection, or maybe playing also God of War? What's your opinions? With that said, I'll see y'all next time, and stay tuned for my top 5 favorite films of the year on my secondary channel, The Goku Report. With that said, I'll see y'all next time. Same YouTube time, same YouTube channel. Stay safe out there.